What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel known as Azure. As always, I am your endearing host, Daniel, followed almost as always by my co-host,
Julian.
And today we're going to be talking about one movie that was made, like, what, I want to say 40 years ago, maybe? Don't you think?
It was made in 89, so about 31.
Alright, fair enough. So yeah, we're going to be talking about 1989 Batman, or Tim Batman, or the Tim Burton verse, or whatever the heck you want to call it. I'm going to just call it Batman for right now. Starring Micheal Keaton and Jack Nicholson. Why did I forget that name? Okay, so yeah. Basically, in short, the movie centers around Bruce Wayne, Batman, you already know, and the creation of the Joker, and we later find out Joker created Batman, which oddly enough was controversial with a lot of people because, if you may know, in the comics, Joe Chill killed Batman's parents, but in this movie, Burton wanted to take a whole different route, saying that, oh, Jack Nicholson killed his parents. In the movie, he's called Jack Napier, which is, well, he's just called Jack. Actually, the Napier part comes from the animated series that fans tend to call Jack in the 1989 movie. So yeah, it's a kind of a parallel between things like, oh, I created you, you created me in turn. So yeah, and also Vicky Vale's in it, but she's more of a scream queen in the sense that all she ever does in the movie is, well, scream.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular thing during that era in the 80s and 90s, but looking back on it now, it can be annoying, especially in this film.
Yeah, because like literally all she ever does is either scream, talk to Bruce, or try to figure out what happened to Bruce in the past, because they never really go that much in detail. There's really only one scene about it, and it's literally just like a slideshow showing Bruce's parents getting shot, and that's really it. And it's already halfway through the movie. So yeah, long story short, the Joker comes back. The Joker is trying to run the criminal underground like he always usually does, and this time he does it by making such a flamboyant gesture, like throwing money everywhere, having a big parade, and filling like the whole air with his Joker gas, which is not really called Joker gas in this sense, or anything. It's just literally laughing gas. And I don't know if there's a whole bunch of Prince music playing when he's around. I don't know. I didn't really notice it when I was a kid, but now I see. Oh wait, why are they doing Prince music?
Yeah, Prince and
doesn't
Seal.
really fit the character.
The only time they didn't have
Prince.
a famous artist play like that was for Dark Knight, so we'll have to see if the new movie has like a famous artist making a song for the soundtrack.
Oh, you're talking about that Batman by Matt Reeves.
Yeah, we're gonna see that if that's the case next year or not. See if that it continues
Yeah,
with
it's
Dark
funny.
Knight or if it breaks the cycle with Dark Knight.
It's funny about that movie too. Like originally Ben Affleck was supposed to direct and star in it, but then he just was to star in it, and now he's just not part of it at all.
Yeah,
I found that a little funny. Like I get why, like with the whole rehab and everything that he had to go through, and I understand that, and like from like the whole backstory of what it was, like when he said, oh, when I was playing Batman, I drank a lot and everything because he had to be in that dark and broody mood, and yeah, that kind of sucked. But I get it.
That's what happens when you're
It's
too
just
much of a method actor. It's a curse.
Yeah, that's true.
In some ways.
So yeah, okay, back to the 1989 Batman. I kind of still like it. Like, I know it's not the most perfect Batman movie, and I know some people say, "Oh, Batman '89 is not a Batman film. It just has a film that it's just a film that has Batman in it." I'm like, no,
Wait, who says that?
it's a Batman film.
Who says that?
Oh, some people. You should know who I'm talking about at this point when I say some people.
Well, like certain comic book fans on like fan forums and stuff saying like.
Like a main YouTube channel, I watch.
Okay, but is it just like certain individuals, or is it actually like a consensus some people have?
It's more like certain individuals that I've seen come around. Like a lot of people do agree that yeah, Batman '89 film isn't really that good of a Batman storyline, but they still acknowledge it's a Batman movie. And like there's literally like probably a small handful of people that say, oh yeah, this is not a Batman movie. This is just a movie that has Batman in it. And I can see why. Like in this movie, Batman does kill the Joker, which he doesn't really do. Batman doesn't really get as much character development as the Joker does. Same thing with Bruce Wayne. Like I appreciate Michael Keaton's like performance and the whole back and forth. Like you can see when Bruce Wayne's there and when Batman's there, and when Batman takes over the persona of Bruce Wayne and vice versa. But it's not really well developed. Like it literally just throws you into the middle of his life. Like there's no real backstory into it.
Well, in an odd way, you can say this is almost an adaptation of the original classic Batman comics before he had the killing code.
Of course, yeah.
In a sense,
yeah.
Since I mean, wasn't it 20 years after he came out that he started doing that, or like 10 years? Where originally he didn't care.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, because I remember like one of the two creators, Bob Kane and Bill Finger. But it's another thing too. Like I've heard people say like, oh, I don't care much for one of these character creators. Like I can't remember if it's either Bob Kane or Bill Finger that people like literally dismiss as being part of Batman. Like no, Like I get it. Like one of them wanted Batman to wear a brightly red suit and to use a gun, but that one was the one who basically came up with the idea of Batman. Is the other one who gave us the more traditional sense of what Batman was. He gave him the dark colored suit, the no killing rule, and everything. But without the main idea, without that main red suit and the wings in the back, we wouldn't have Batman at all. Like I get it. He was not probably the best person to make Batman, but without his actual interpretation of the Batman, we wouldn't have Batman today as we know him.
Plus, that was never going to be the. No matter what, things can always start out somewhere and then end up somewhere else. I mean, the idea needs to come first before you finish and polish the final touches.
That's what I'm trying to say. But
with
like,
example being, I'm agreeing with you, right? So what I'm saying as an example is like with Predator, right? The original design was so bad, but they didn't have the concept of the
big
Predator.
old red lobster suit type thing.
Yeah, like this weird red monster. But if they didn't have the original idea, then they wouldn't have even started to think about getting that one guy to redesign it to be the Predator that we know today.
Of course, yeah. I mean, like for me to hear people like discredit either Bob Kane or Bill Finger, I really need to look that up. That it's literally like why they both created the character, they both like had ideas, and I get it. Like one of them didn't really have as much to do with what Batman as we do now, but he still deserves some credit to it.
Yeah, I see. So, I see what you're saying about how sometimes fans get too focused on a character's interpretation that they won't allow a creator to have their own idea of what a character can and would do. That's like sometimes can be limiting on certain franchises and could hurt.
Of course, and the same thing could be said. The same thing can be said for this movie too. Like, yeah, I get it's not your kind of Batman film, but that doesn't mean that we can't dismiss it completely. Like Tim Burton saw the character, and he wanted to take it his own way. If he wanted to make a nod to the original Batmans, where he did kill some people, and he did kill some people in the comics, and was a bit more darker than what he uses right now, then yeah, that's fine. You could treat this like an Elseworld story if you want. That's what I usually tend to see this as. It's an Elseworld story.
Well, really, any movie's an Elseworld story. Anyways, right? Because the comics is the only true canon, and even that can be kind of flip-floppy, because then when they do a reset of a universe or things like that, it's like, is it really a true canon? Especially with comics, where is that kind of thing, right? Was like after, say, One More Day with Spider-Man or things like that, it's like, well, considering there's a new continuity, right? It's like, is it really the same old Spider-Man if they reset everything to go to a new timeline or new universe or stuff like that? Is that kind of thing where with comics especially, it's like, who cares about canon in a certain way? Of course,
yeah. It's in a sense like, unless someone says, oh yeah, this is definitely canon, then no, just take it as an Elseworld story.
And even then, that could always get retconned by a new writer. It's never like, outside of like Hellboy or certain other artists, most comics have new writers, so it's like, why should you even consider what they say to be true if it's not even the original creator's intent? And why should you care what the original creator says if that new creator doesn't even like address what the old creator had to say?
Of course, yeah. That's the thing too about like continuity in comic books or comic book films or any other like forms of comic media. You can't really take continuity at face value. You kind of have to do some research into it. Yeah,
but the one thing I'll say is that what this has that's unique is why it still matters compared to like other things, since the fact that it is different from something like a Dark Knight, it's not doing the exact things, it's easier to focus on the stuff that it did unique that was good rather than the general Batman stuff, like how the backgrounds look like map paintings. They look really nice, very Burton-esque.
Yeah. Because I remember when we were watching it, like you said, oh yes, this map painting is fucking beautiful. Like they don't do this like they used to.
Yeah, at least the background. I don't know if it's a map painting specifically, but at least how it looks reminds me of the old like Star Trek, the first movie, or older Star Wars when it wasn't just a real background, right? And there's actually a thing about the one of the Batman storyboard and concept artists that when they were talking about it, how when he was doing stuff, he got it based off of Tim Burton's idea that like he wasn't really the most adept or understanding of the characters with who Batman is, but he did want to make it like a dark film, and then he wanted to design it in certain styles and imagery, and so what is it? That's how like even if it's creator doesn't know, that's part of it. Like Tim Burton probably didn't know much about Batman, about like stuff like the norm killing room rule, but because of that,
the only real thing I think he had a knowledge of was the Killing Joke storyline. Like he only read that one, and like there's a quote literally saying, "Oh yeah, this is the best comic book I've ever read."
Yeah, which is funny because then you get into like what Alan Moore. I mean, Alan Moore complains about a lot, but it's what Alan Moore says, where he says he doesn't want people to look at the Killing Joke as a comic to read because he kind of regrets it in some ways.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Or like, but then there's these, or like with Watchmen's interpretation, how he doesn't really care for how Zack Snyder like does it, or the DC still using the Watchmen, or how. The new Watchmen show, he says like he didn't want a TV adaptation, but then the guy who made the show didn't really care. Where it's like, that's the kind of thing where you can't really care for the original comic artist's interpretation. It does suck though because they're the ones that made it, but with how the business is right now, it doesn't matter. So you kind of have to accept it and go like, if he takes your work like that, you just have to accept it. And so Tim Burton, by doing that, because I mean technically. There is that end of the Killing Joke where people don't know if Batman did kill the Joker or not. So that could be why Tim Burton could think, oh yeah, like this is why, like Batman did this at the end. He killed the Joker, so why not?
Yeah, that's why. So I think like that shows like his interpretation. Like Batman's a killer. Like he's a killer, but he kind of has a pity sense of killing to it. Like he doesn't mean to kill. Like he kills out of like some form of pity that he had for the Joker.
I mean, at least in this movie, they don't use this excuse like certain comics or movies or games do, where it's like, no, he didn't kill that person with his car. There was a shockwave that would kill them. Or especially in Batman vs. Superman, where they go like, he didn't kill them, even though they use super explosives. Don't worry about it. And it's like, no, he like, at least in this one, they outright say like, no, they killed the criminals. Like, come on.
Yeah. No, but in BVS, like you can see, like when he hits someone with the crate, you can see like blood splatter going on the wall. Like, he killed them.
Yeah, but then like the publishers and people.
It's more so in Justice League where it's more so in Justice League where they toned it down a bit. Where like he didn't kill these people, but he did.
Yeah, so that's I mean I do at least with this film, it's like they kind of know that would murder someone.
Yeah. All right. Well, back to the movie where like. I want to say like Jack Nicholson, like his portrayal of the Joker is almost, I enjoyed it. Like it's not really my favorite one, but it's enjoyable for what it is because like he brings like that sort of craziness to the Joker, unpredictability. Now you can see it in his early work too, like in The Shining, like 9 years after The Shining came out, you could already tell like, oh yeah, this man's crazy and everything.
Yeah, he really likes to have likes to have Jack in his name when it comes to his characters.
I think it's either that or like it's just a coincidence, like. Because Jack Torrance was the Stephen King made that the name either way. So I don't know. It's like it's either could be a coincidence or he actively tries for roles that has Jack in the name.
Yeah, like there's this. There's Joker is called Jack in this, and I think there's like another film that I was talking about before, but it's slipping my tongue right now.
Yeah, I think so. Like the only other work I get to see where he actually like pretends to be crazy or anything and shows actual like reach or anything or range, whatever you want to call it, is like. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where he pretends to be an insane asylum patient.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty good at these kinds of roles, which is, I mean, might be one of the reasons he decided to become Joker as one example. And of course, what was it? I like that he's probably. It's hard to say. He's my second or third favorite Joker live action, at the very least. Yeah, it's. Number one is Joaquin right now, but he's not really the Joker. He's just kind of Arthur. So I guess he might actually be my favorite. True. But it's hard with because of Dark Knight and not Jared Leto. What's his name?
Mark Hamill.
No, not Mark Hamill. He's the animated one.
Oh, yeah, he's a voice actor.
Who's the guy from? Okay, who's the one from Dark Knight?
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, Heath Ledger, really good Joker role. But the reason why Jack sometimes gets the edge is because he does have that. Humor to him. He does have that kind of.
Yeah, that's the one thing I want to say. Like, kind of derails Heath Ledger thing. Like, he claims to not be completely serious all the time, but like he doesn't really like do more like comedic things in a way like that, like how Nicholson does.
Because I mean, the one thing I'll say is that he is not completely serious, but it's that kind of like almost dry, like British humor where he'll be more sarcastic or be like, oh no, like I'm gonna be serious right now, but then he's like, nah, it doesn't matter. But it's not that kind of
Yeah.
outwardly like clowny humor where like Jack Nicholson will have the like Prince song where he'll like do all this stuff with the paintings, and then he'll go, wait
Of
a
course,
second,
yeah.
boys, I like this one. It speaks to me. But
Of
it'll
course,
still
yeah.
have that intimidation where when the lady laughs from the Joker serum, you're like, okay, this is like serious enough. Or when he first knocks out everyone and talks to Batman's like, not girlfriend, but the screaming girl,
Vicky
Nikki
Vale.
Vale. Like,
Vicky Vale,
like
yeah.
she'll intimidate Nikki Vale, and there is that level of it, like seriousness where you don't know if Joker's gonna actually do something or not.
That's the thing too. Like I've heard like some people say, "Oh, the Joker's just a narcissist in this movie, and that's not really the Joker." I'm like, what do you mean? The Joker's always about self-image. He literally states, "I admit when I do the crime. If there's a crime committed and you think it's me, and I didn't admit to it, it's not me." He will completely admit to the crime, because that's how self-indulgent he is.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Even no matter what interpretation, no matter how bad it is or good it is, in most comics there is that level of he wants to be the whole fact of his character is he wants to be the center of attention of Batman. He does want to be Batman's number one in most interpretation, even when he's of like chaotic nature, even when he's a funny guy like in the show, even when he's force of nature, or even when he's Jared Leto, like he is an attention seeker.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like even if he's not like in lieu of searching for Batman, like to be his number one, he still wants everyone to know, like, oh yeah, this is me. I'm the clown prince of crime. You all should be scared of me. You all should do whatever I say. Like, yeah, I'm a narcissist. That's part of what makes me crazy too.
Or hell, even let's go with this. The most recent one, which is Joaquin Phoenix's in Joker, is that he, even though he might not be narcissistic until later on when he becomes full Joker, at least in his interpretation or the film's interpretation, he still wants to be like the guy on stage that is like getting the laughs by the people.
He still wants to be seen. That's what he wants. That's all he wants. Like literally, he wants to be seen and heard.
Yeah, like even like it is that where the way it works in this, it is that he wants to be the focus. He's giving people money like that, and that's how it works.
Yeah. Of course, he wants to be seen as like this somewhat benevolent type person who can do whatever the hell he wants to do, and he'll get away with it no matter what, unless the Batman comes to stop him or someone else.
Well, it's like that comic book, I think Batman White Knight.
Oh yeah, that one.
Where even when he's good, he's still like trying to be the mayor role and trying to get Batman to look like a bad guy. So no matter what, even if he's a good guy, he still has.
There's always that hint of narcissism in him, like, oh yeah, I'm the best guy there is. No one could do better than me.
Yeah, he still has those like tendencies because that's just that is the kind of personality he has. He's supposed to be a reflection of Batman, and Batman has that characteristic to either lead or want to be that kind of big figure, right? The big authority figure in a sense.
Of course, yeah. All right, so anything else you want to talk about this movie?
More roles. Oh yeah, what was it? The fact that Commissioner Gordon doesn't get too much in this.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He gets literally he gets name dropped and that's about it. Like name dropped in one scene. That's about it. And he doesn't really do much.
Yeah, I mean,
the same thing could be said for Harvey Dent. Like he's played by what's his name? Forgetting his name. Damn it. He's played by Lando Calrissian. I'll just call him that. He's played by Lando, and he doesn't really get that much screen time.
Yeah,
Billy D. Williams. There we go. Billy D. Williams. I can't believe I forgot his name.
It's weird too because he was pretty big. I mean, that was like, was it right after Star Wars and right after Rocky and all these other like films with a lot of major films he was in, and also that that's when there was a lot of major black stars and all this stuff, and he got nothing. Like I'm pretty sure he probably still got like pretty good billing for being in the film, but he only shows up every once in a while.
Like a big ass paycheck for that. I feel like though, like it was Tim Burton's plan to like lead into him in a way. Like if he stuck with the whole Batman trilogy type thing, after Batman Returns, and he made another film, then yeah, he probably would have used Two-Face like in Batman Forever, but better.
Yeah, because what was it? Was he in the second film even in Returns?
I feel like he was, but I can't say for sure because I haven't seen the second film in a while.
Yeah, he didn't get enough focus where it's something to remember about, which seems kind of weird for such a big role, big star in
Mm-hmm.
these kinds of things. And who else was it? I guess we said the main thing because there's like not much else to say because it's really just a film about which there's too many of these. It's really a film about Batman and Joker. So
Yeah, that's true. When you narrow it down to it, it's literally a Batman Joker film. That's about
yeah,
it. Not really much can be said about it. Like you'd always have like, oh yeah, we just got Batman fighting Bane like in the Dark Knight Rises, or we have Batman coming to terms with who he is and what he's gonna do, like in Batman Begins, or hey, let's just have Batman kill a bunch of people like in Batman Superman.
yeah. Because the only thing I really could say would be more like semantics or little nitpicks I don't want to get into, but I guess the only one I'd
Mm-hmm.
say before we end it is like it's really noticeable to see how stiff the suit is. That
Oh yeah,
it's just kind of
that's the
like
thing. Like
you just see him
it's
wobbling around
always
like a little kid at like Halloween when the suit's too big
mhm.
or small. Like he doesn't fit in the suit. It doesn't look correct.
Yeah, that's it with all the Batman films up until the Dark Knight. Like between Adam West's Batman and the Dark Knight, all the suits he couldn't turn his head. That's it.
Yeah.
They're all just stiff.
Well, I guess it's because of
Like
how they use
the
it
only
with the
re-
latex and stuff, right? Or
yeah, like the only reason like Adam West could turn his whole body is because it was all fabric
which was
stuff.
the correct
And
thing.
Yeah, and Christian Bale's was like spaced armor plating. That's what it was.
Yeah. So what was it? Oh yeah, I guess also I'm glad that Michael Keaton doesn't do that weird Batman voice in the Dark Knight or the trilogy.
Oh yeah, the whole graveling sense. So like, I feel like that messed up Christian Bale's throat a lot because he used like a modulator in the third one. That's why.
Yeah, I mean it's only a really big problem with Batman Begins where you can't really hear him say anything. So I'm glad I can hear Michael
Oh
Keaton
yeah,
give like a regular performance with his regular voice to show his acting chops.
of course. Like, I mean, he does lower his voice a bit when he's Batman, but it's not like to the point where like he gravels his throat and everything like that.
He just does it a little bit.
Yeah,
It
it's more
is
like,
weird.
oh yeah, I'm Batman like that.
Yeah, it is weird to see Batman also be like a little humorous too. Like
Oh
he'll
yeah,
sometimes do like quips or stuff, or like
mm-hmm.
I guess the example
Oh
is
yeah,
like when he's facing like the ninja guy, and he's
oh
like
yeah, that
goading
part.
him. It's like, oh yeah, come on, you can do
Mhm.
this.
I feel like that has a sense to do with like yeah, this is more of the Silver Age in terms of comic books because at that time yeah, the storylines were more lighthearted and everything. Also a bit of the Golden Age where like the you had like early interpretations of Batman like not be as serious as he is now. So that could be it.
Yeah, it might be. Well, one, I guess you could say it's because of the era, or also Burton's style. And another thing is that
Mhm.
the only real other comic book hero movie that was successful, because this was before Marvel, this was before Blade, even this was before the '90s, even with just how like
Yeah, that's why.
writing works with like stuff like Spielberg
Uh-huh.
outside of like indie, is that all you really had was Superman. And like
Yeah,
Superman
yeah, someone
is a full on like
yeah, Boy Scout and like his films are lighthearted and all that stuff. And then when you come across some Batman film and you want it to be as dark as possible, you gotta have some sort of humor so that people don't be like, wow, that was just a dark
too
movie.
much.
Why the hell did I see that?
Yeah, you don't want it to be
It's
a
a superhero movie.
soft
It's not really
thing.
meant to be that dark.
Yeah, and so the other thing I say too is that they did try pretty hard, and the best thing is with the whole Batman theme of how other artists, other YouTube creators say this better. So I mean, just watch those if you want to hear, or even just full on film professionals. But the difference between the Superman theme and Batman theme really shows the love this film got, and how it is a Batman film, based off how much the what is it, the musician that made this. I think it was Elfman. I think it was Danny Elfman.
Yeah, it was
How
Danny
he
Elfman.
looked at the John Williams Superman theme and tried to like kind of change it and figure out how it worked to then fit into like a Batman song, and how
Of
there's
course, yeah.
certain things with like stuff like that shows that he really understood both of the characters and also how like well done Superman is, which is actually a thing in other superhero films I'll probably talk about too, is how Superman's big thing. I'll talk about a lot more if we ever watch Superman, but how big Superman's theme and the film itself was to the superhero genre as a whole, or even just the average, just full on serial action movie template, and how
Mm.
seminal it was that the Batman really was first one that really shaked it up, really tried to differentiate from it, and how much both of these films have overall, even to now, to like Avengers Endgame kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, but that'll be more on the Superman review at one of these days.
That's gonna be a video for another time if we ever do Superman.
So that's all you wanted to say?
Yep. Well, we got nothing else to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have comments, you know where to put them. Anything else, you know where it goes. Well, we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.